Okay, let us observe the first question. A man purchased 250 eggs. He found that 30% of them are broken. How many eggs were broken? Okay, so how many eggs he purchased? He purchased the 250 eggs. And what percentage of eggs were broken? That is 30%. So we are asked to find out how many eggs are broken. So 30% of total 250 are broken. So 30% means what? For 100 into 250. Okay, 0 0 get cancelled, this 0 get cancelled, so we left with a 3 into 25, that is 75. How many eggs were broken? 75 eggs were broken. Okay, now let us see this next question. This year the cost of car is increased by 10% of the what it was the last year. If the cost of the car is 2,20,000 this year, what was the last year's car? See what we have given. The cost of increase in the cost is what? 10%. So after increasing this year's cost of car given as 2,20,000. So we are asked to find out what was this last year's car. So here how do you got this year's cost price? That will be obtained by an increasing 10%. Okay, that means 100 plus 10% of last year's price gives us a 2,20,000. Okay, last year price ki 10% increase అయింది కాబట్టి so 110% of last year's price is equals to 2,20,000. So 110% means what? 110 by 100 into last year's price gives us 2,20,000. Now to get a last year's price, what we should do? We should transpose this one to other hand. So last year's price is equals to 2,20,000 into 100 by 110. 0 0 get cancelled, 11 1 the 11 2 the 22. How many zeros are there? 4 zeros. So 20,000 into 10, that is 2 lakhs rupees. So what was last year's price? That is of 2 lakhs rupees. Okay, now let us see this next question. Radha scored 72 out of 100 in Telugu, 96 out of 100 in maths and 75 out of 100 in English. Find out her overall percentage. So how many marks she got in Telugu? That is 72, and in maths 96, and in English she got 75. So total marks how much? So total how many marks she gained? That is 243 that you will get. Okay, she got a 243 out of how many marks? That is 100 plus 100 plus 100. So total marks she obtained, that is 243 by total marks is 300 into 100. 100 1 the 100 3 the 3 1 the 381 the. So how much percentage of marks she got? She got a 81% of marks she got. A man purchased 700 eggs and he found that 20% of them were broken. And how many eggs were found as a broken? So total how many eggs he purchased? That is 700 in that 20%. So 20% of 700 that we should find out, that is equals to 20 per 100 into 700. Okay, 100 1 the 100 7 the 700, 27 the, that is 140. How many eggs were broken? That is 140. That is of option A is the correct one. Okay, now let us see this next question. An alloy contains 60% of copper and rest of is zinc. Then what was the amount of zinc in 150 kg of alloy? Okay, here an alloy consists of two metals, that is of copper and zinc, and this copper is of 60%. If I suppose this total is 100%, if 60% is copper then remaining is how much? 100 minus 60, that is 40%. So what is the percentage of zinc in that alloy? That is 40%. So here we have given the total weight of alloys is 150 kgs. In that we are asked to find out what is the weight, how much amount of the zinc is there in that we need to find out. That means indirectly we are asked to find out 40% of 150 kgs. That is 40 per 100 into 150. Okay, 0 0 get cancelled, 0 0 get cancelled, 15 4, that is 60 kgs. That means out of 150 kgs of alloy, there are how many kgs? 60 kgs of zinc is there. Okay, now let us observe the next question. 26th question. There are 40 students in the class 5 in a school. 25% of them are boys. Find the percentage of girls. Here total 100% of students are there. In that we have boys and girls, and boys percentage given as a 25%. Now girls percentage that we are asked to find out. How we will get girls percentage? That is 100 minus 25%, that is equal to 75%. So girls percentage is what? 75%. That is of option A is the correct one for this question. Okay, now let us see this next question. An alloy contains 70% of copper and rest is zinc. Then what is the amount of zinc in 50 kgs of alloy? Okay, here an alloy consisting of two metals, that are copper and zinc, and this copper is of 70%. So out of 100%, if I suppose it is 100% of alloy, in that 70% is copper, means remaining 100 minus 70, that is 30%. So 30% of zinc. Zinc percentage is what? Zinc percentage given as a 30%. And what we are asked to find out? We are asked to find out amount of zinc in 50 kgs of alloy. If alloy weight is what? 50 kgs, in that how much quantity of zinc will be? So zinc quantity, if you want to find out, means 30% of 50 kgs. If you do, you will get 30 by 100 into 50, 51 the 52 the 2 1 the 215 the. So how much? 15 kgs of zinc will be out of 50 kgs of alloy. Okay, now let us see this next question. This year cost of a car is increased by 20%. What it was in the last year? Okay, if the cost is 2,40,000 in this year, then what was the cost in the last year? So here this year's car price given as a 2,40,000. How you will get it? This one means on increasing a 20% to the last year's cost. That means after increasing 20% of last year's, that becomes 120% of last year's price is equals to 2,40,000. So 120% means what? 120 by 100 into last year's price, that is equals to 2,40,000. So 0 0 get cancelled, and transposing this 12 by 10 to other hand becomes a multiplier, so that you get as the last year's price as an 2,40,000 into 10 by 12. 12 1 the 12 to the 24 and 4 zeros as is. Okay, so 20,000 into 10, so that we get it then last year's car price is what? 2 lakhs rupees. That is of option D is the correct one for this question. Okay, so this is the 29th question. 2/5 of 1/3 of 3/7 of a number is 15. What was a 40%? Okay, what 40% of that number? Firstly, what we need to find out? We need to find out 40% of that number. So 40% if I convert into fractions, that may helpful to us. So 40% if I want to convert into fraction, 40 divided by 100. So 0 0 get cancelled. Okay, so what we should do? This is 2 to the 2 5. So we need to find out 2 by 5th times of that number. That means here what we have given, 2 by 5 times of 1 by 3 times of 3 by 7 times of a number. Okay, given as an 15, but what we are asked to find out, we are asked to find out 40% of that number, means what, 2 by 5th of that number. 2 by 5th of that number means what, here we have these two terms are there, these two terms if I transpose to other hand, so that we will get a 2 by 5 times of required number will be obtained as an 15 into, and transposing these terms to other hand, they becomes reciprocal, 3 by 1 into 7 by 3, 3 get cancelled, so 15 7 105 is the answer. So option D is the correct answer for this question. Okay, let us observe the last problem in this video. The difference between the number and 2/5 of the number is 510. Then what is 10% of that number? So what we have given, let us assume that required number is x, and 2 by 5th of the number is what, 2 by 5 into x, that is 2x by 5. Then their difference between the number and 2 by 5th of that number given as an 510. Okay, so once observe this, if I take LCM, this is 5x minus 2x by 5 gives us an 510. This is 3x by 5 given as an 510. From this, x is equals to 510 into 5 by 3. So 3 1 the 3, 3 1 the 3, 2 left. Okay, so x is equals to what, 170 into 5, 170 into 5 that we got. But what we should find out, we should find out a 10%. So 10% of x we are asked to find out. So 10 by 100 into 170 into 5, 0 0 get cancelled, 0 0 get cancelled. So we left over with a 17 5s. So we know that 17 5s as a 85. So required number is what, 85. That is of option A is the correct answer.